Simone's career is over, we have a lot of special memories to cherish. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join us for a book party celebrating The Covenant with Black America 20 years later. Almost 2 decades ago, the Covenant book, compiled and edited by Tavis Smiley, climbed to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list and stayed there for weeks. The first book by a black-owned publisher to achieve such a feat. The urgency of the issues that matter most to black fellow citizens has only intensified, especially in this critical election year. On Wednesday evening, August 14th, 6 to 9 p.m., come meet Tavis Smiley alongside Covenant contributors including Cornel West, Connie Rice, Mark Ridley Thomas, Elisa Orduna, Tyrone Howard, and Melina Abdullah as they sign copies of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later. You can purchase your books on site and get them autographed. That's Wednesday evening, August 14th, 6 to 9 p.m. in the city of Los Angeles. Admission is free, but you must register at KBLA1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Generation we so glued to the screens, all for the views, all for the likes, and it's far from the truth. Addicted to the feed, like crack for the fiends, lost in the memes. Times like this, it's all for the fame and the glamorous. Identity crisis, yeah. Then we all smile for the cameras. Identity crisis. Yeah. Feels like my mind is exploding, locked in and I'm zoned in. These algorithms have me scrolling. Yeah, she knows what she's posting. More likes for the skin exposing. Skin out, get career in motion, cause that's how the algorithm is coding. This suicidal, early signs of depression, from the trolling in the mentions. She linked the surgeon for new dimensions. They control our perceptions, and we need an intervention. These are my thoughts and reflections. Yes,
Kes Namdi, while we're playing this track, before we jump into our conversation more fully, tell me about this song.
Well, are you hearing me clearly?
I hear you very clearly, brother.
All right, nice. Well, I feel like an artist's job is to make sure they reflect the times at hand, and I wanted to capture on record like a conversation that's not really been taking place a lot. It's a conversation that I feel like everybody is victims of, but it's just like an elephant in the room that we don't talk about, and these massive companies are spending millions and billions of dollars to ensure that we're glued to the screens, and it's causing a lot of they're capitalizing off of our addiction on the screen, which they created. They created algorithms that basically trigger anything that gives you a massive emotional response. So whether it's good or bad, you know what I mean? So it's a very dangerous world that and road that we're going down, and I feel like it's a conversation that needs to take place as the further and further we get deeper into this algorithm,
Yep. You called that track. Yeah. You named it Identity Crisis. Why Identity Crisis?
So based on the algorithm, I think we spend a lot of our time comparing our lives to other people, because when we are on the screens, we look at other people's lives and see people living happily, see people living the best life, and then when you compare it back to yours, you're wondering why yours doesn't feel like this. You know what I mean? So it's really, and so our generation, which I am 31 years old, and I feel like our generation is going through an identity crisis because of the algorithm. So, yeah.
I appreciate that transparency and that confession about your generation and the identity crisis it is going through. Let me ask you how much time you've given to considering what should be done about that identity crisis in your generation.
Well, there's a lot of conversations taking place, but I think the first thing that needs to take place is that these big companies like Facebook and all these, I can list a bunch of these.
Sure.
They need to hold accountability for what's taking place. So that's the first thing that needs to happen, because some of the smartest people in the world who live in Silicon Valley are sitting down creating these algorithms, and they know, and they've been studying the data, and they're using our data improperly to make sure, because you have to understand, the way they make money is for us to stay longer on the screen. So it's like a conflict of interest almost. So I think that the first place that we need to start is the companies need to take accountability and then now create a safer way and a more a safer way to use these apps. These apps ain't going nowhere. Right. You know what I mean? It's only going to get more and more powerful. So we need to create some kind of law or some kind of intervention that protects us. And I don't know the answer, you know, like I wish I could tell you the answer, but I can definitely tell you that I see it all around me, and I'm also a victim of it myself. You know what I mean? All of us are. Nobody can get around this algorithm once you have a phone in your hand. You know?
No, I hear your point. We're going to talk in this hour, and I'm glad I've got you for the hour. We're going to talk in this hour about, I'm going to put it this way, your fate as a musician, and how inevitable that was, given who your parents are on the international reggae stage. We'll talk about your parents and how you really didn't have any choice but to be a reggae artist. But when we come forward, I want to continue this dialogue we're having right now about the ways in which you see music as a tool. Music certainly is all about entertainment, and when one does reggae, people want to be entertained, no question about it. But the best of the reggae tradition is to say what you see. Bob Marley, of course, is unmatched in that regard. But the best of reggae is empowering us while it entertains us, making us think rather, while it makes us move and move our hips and dance and have a great time. But it also, you know, I mean, country music is one of those genres where country is always saying something, sometimes funny, sometimes serious, but there's always a message in country music. Reggae isn't too far afield from that. It is quite entertaining, but there's so many messages in reggae, and my sense is that Kes Namdi, we'll call him Kes sees his music platform as a tool as well. So we'll talk about that, a great deal more about his infectious reggae beat when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties. Classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stings that just will never come out.
Going down in the real exchange.
Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes 100% of odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Mayfresh Daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
We're steaming all day, all night. Me and the daughter have to go on no tight. The Rasta man party always nice. That's how we do it up a Skyline Drive. Pull up on the chalice with the high-grade drum. Ring the alarm like me name Tennessee. Run for me hip and me back against the wall. We not trust the Pope, we not trust John Paul. Haile Selassie, I'm rule overall. Chakula Ahmed, daddy, Goldilocks, and me.
Our guest in this hour is reggae artist Kes Namdi. Pleased to have him on this program as we talk about his personal journey with music, his familiar connection to reggae, his artistry, and the revolution that he is embarked upon trying to use his music as a particular work and witness. We played a track earlier called Identity Crisis, and we got into a deep dialogue about what he was saying in that particular track. This track is called Skyline Drive. Skyline Drive is the track you're listening to right now from Kes Namdi. So, Kes, I was saying a moment ago, I was teeing up a conversation about your lyricism, and I'm not naive. I am mindful of the fact that Marvin Gaye did it as well as anybody ever has, and Marvin had obviously a great hit called "What's Going On," but he also had a great song called "Let's Get It On." I mean, Marvin did both. What's going on? Let's get it on. So I never want to back artists into a corner and say that their music has to have a particular witness to it. But it is the case that reggae, though, again, Bob Marley is the quintessential example, but there's so many others, including yourself now. But the music oftentimes pushes us to think, as I say all the time, challenges us to re-examine our assumptions, expands our inventory of ideas, gives us a new prism through which to see the world. Talk about that part of your music when you use the platform to actually say something.
Well, to be honest, the more and more I'm hearing you ask the question, it's not something that I like. I'm very conscious about my impact. Let's say that, right? So
Right.
I'm very conscious that when I release music, there's people listening.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So
Sure.
definitely, I have an intention when I go into the studio, but it's not like that conscious in the point where I'm going to go in the studio to make something very revolutionary. No, it's just more reflecting the times at hand. Like, genuinely, this is how I feel.
Right.
And this is how I'm feeling. This is the world that I'm experiencing, whether it's... And sometimes that feeling gets a little bit political because you can't go around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it's not something where I'm just this big activist and this big rebel. No, it's just what I feel, and then it's sometimes it gets a little bit. We touch on topics that sometimes not easy to talk about, and I also believe that music does a very good job of breaking down the ego. You know what I mean? That's why when you go into certain malls or stores, they have to play music because it helps to break down the ego to spend money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for me, I grew up in a household where my parents are revolutionaries. Like, them don't serious people. You know what I mean? So I think also growing up in that kind of space and household kind of showed me that music is a little bit more than just fun too. It's also, remember that in fact music started out like that. When you go back to the history of music, slaves used drums to communicate. They used drums to communicate, to tell their messages and across when they were way over there on the other plantation, and they would beat the drum 3 times or whatever and play the song in a certain way, and they know that's a specific message. So it started out very serious as well. You know what I mean? In fact, music was taboo. You would get locked up for playing music in the ancient times because of what it would make. They considered it witchcraft. So music always tread that line of a message. And then now when capitalism come inside now and business and money now, it became something that they can use to sell something. And that's when the whole entertainment aspect of music came in, you know.
When you reflect upon that, and I'm glad you said that because you're making me think now. When you reflect upon the fact that music at one point in certain spaces was indeed taboo, that music was a threat. I mean, think about this. Music at one point in certain spaces was indeed a threat. What do you make of that?
Yeah, man, it's a threat. It's a threat because you're talking to the soul. You know what I mean? You're not talking to the brain. You're not talking to the ego. No, music is feelings in it that are tangible. No, you can hear it.
Yeah.
So it's a very dangerous thing, and in fact, over the years, you know, that has been the biggest threat to any system is a sound system.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I love that. You're right about it. You're talking to the soul, and that's why it is so threatening.
Yeah.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
When you talk to the soul, it can be threatening to a lot of different people, man. So I take that point.
Yeah.
You started to go there. Let's just push a little harder and go a little deeper. Your parents, who you referenced a moment ago, who I referenced earlier in this conversation, you really, as far as I'm concerned, you didn't have any choice, man. It was going to get you one way or the other, given who your parents are. Take some time here. Tell me about your parents.
Well, you know, my father, mother, both authors, both activists in the movement. They do a lot of stuff there. You know what I mean? They have like 6, 7, 8 albums. You know, their name is Chakula and Goldilocks. You know, and growing up in that household, as I was saying earlier, was very unique. I thought it was normal at the time because that's what I grew up seeing. But you know, growing up as a Rasta in a Rasta home in Jamaica, which is very dominantly Catholic, you know what I mean, country. So it's very strict and very growing up in a household like that was very unique, you know, because as I said, like people considered Rastafarians as the filth of society. So and as the dirt of society and a big threat to the status quo. All they do is smoke drugs. You know, schools wouldn't allow me to come to school with dreadlocks on my head. Friends weren't allowed to sleep over my house because my father was smoking marijuana in the household. So you think about growing up in a serious time like that, and the reason why I'm giving you, painting that picture for you is I wanted you to see the kind of mindset that my parents were in when I was growing up. When Rasta, being a Rasta now is almost cool. It's almost, now you're seeing in California, all these vegan restaurants pop up, and it was the lifestyle of Rasta and what Bob Marley brings to the world, make people start to realize healthy living and a healthy mindset. But it was very strict, you know what I mean? Because the revolution, what my parents taught me growing up, was never on the street holding up a sign. It was those minor decisions that you make in the household, which is choosing not to eat certain things where the system force on you, choosing not to listen to certain music that the system force on you, choosing to live a certain way, have a certain mindset. So, yeah, man, growing up with parents like that has definitely, I was privileged to have that kind of knowledge right at my doorstep. A lot of people have to go out in the world to search and find that. You know what I mean? I didn't, you know. Yep. I was able to have a lot of knowledge about self-engineering and the consciousness of life from a very early age. So we give thanks for that upbringing, you know.
Well, yeah, I want to talk more about the music, your parents' music, and how eventually it became your muse. Music became your muse as well. But you said a couple things now that are worth interrogating. This is getting interesting for me. Let me go back to this notion of Rastafarian life, and the fact, as you put it, that many people have seen over the decades, and some still do, see a Rasta lifestyle as a threat to the status quo, certainly inside of Jamaica. They have seen a Rasta lifestyle as filthy, to use the word that you used earlier. So here's my broad question. And I think you're right. It's become more vogue over the decades to embrace the culture and the clothes and the look and the sound and the food. I don't think you're wrong about that. But here we are in 2024, and there are still any number, I suspect, of misconceptions, misperceptions about the Rasta lifestyle. Tell me. I'm giving you a canvas here, paint as you will. But tell me 2 or 3 of the things about the Rasta lifestyle that you hear routinely that most trouble you, that are at the epicenter of these misconceptions about Rasta.
Well, one of the first biggest one is that, as I was just elaborating on what I was saying earlier, is that, the Jamaican government, in the history of the Jamaican government, really, when people think about Jamaica, they think of coconut trees and a Rastaman smoking on a beach. But it's actually the total opposite. We in Jamaica, they had an event in 1962 or 1961 or one of those 63, one of those years. There was an event called the Coral Gardens Massacre, and it was when the Prime Minister Bustamante. There was a lot of tension in the country going on at the time between Rastafarians and the government. And Bustamante, who was the Prime Minister at the time, said a famous quote, "Bringing all Rastas dead or alive." You know, and it was a big massacre where they literally went into the streets and beat Rasta and locked them up and cut their hair and just total inhumane things that you could think of that you could do to a people, especially a people like Rastafarians who are so peaceful, you know what I mean? But as I said, it's a Catholic country. So a lot of tourists and a lot of people who fly down from America who love to come to Jamaica, they don't understand this. They think that it's the opposite way around because the Jamaican government are hypocrites. They promote the image of Rasta and use it to commercialize their island. And reggae music was also a music that was banned. Like, just to give you a little bit more history, reggae music wasn't allowed to be played on Jamaican radio. It was pop music from America. You imagine you have a set of black people who are educated and liberated and saying that there's a king from Africa that we all hail as Earth's rightful ruler. It was blasphemy to them because at that time they were praising the image of a white God, which is Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? What them call as that. So that was the image that they was praising. So here comes a black one now, what black people say to liberate them. So it was blasphemy. It was almost like insulting. How could you even say that there's a black king when at that time Jamaica wasn't even independent? They were still under the British. You know? So it was a lot of there's a lot of misconceptions of the state of how the government treats Rastas because people don't come to Jamaica because they got white beaches. Let's just be real. You know what I mean? They come to, like, everybody, there's so many white beaches in the Caribbean island. You can go to the Bahamas, you can go Trinidad, you can go, they come to Jamaica for 3 main things: ganja, reggae music, and Rasta. And those are the 3 biggest things that Jamaica fight down. The Jamaican government has been fighting down and almost call us backward. But in true reality, the Rastafarian mindset has been one of the most forward movement in to date in the last, say, 10 decades. You know, 4 or 5 decades, like that has one of the biggest impacts on the world today. When you think about the hippie movement in America and you think about how reggae music has impacted globally without even touching the charts. You have to understand it's a very weird genre because it doesn't play on the charts. However, it tops the charts in your heart. You know what I mean? And it still somehow gets across. I don't know if I answered your question.
Oh, no, you answered it, brother. You more than answered it. You more than answered it. As a matter of fact, you answered it so well, you gave me more questions. You answered it so beautifully. I got more questions based on what you said. Let me start with this. Kez. By the way, if you just tuned in, our guest is reggae musical artist Kez Namdi. We call him Kez. And we're honored to have him on this program in this hour. So let me ask you this right quick. And I've always wondered, not wondered, but I've been tickled by this for decades now, so I'm glad you raised it. I have never seen a music, as you put it, that sells like crazy but doesn't chart. It sells like crazy, but it doesn't get radio airplay. What do you make of that? What do you make of the impact and the influence even today of reggae music when it doesn't get regular airplay, and you never hear about a reggae song at the top of the Billboard 100. You never hear stuff like that, and yet it is hegemonic around the globe. How do you see that? What do you make of that?
Oh, man, this is a question I've been trying to answer myself, man. I've been studying this question for many years, trying to understand how is this even possible?
Yeah.
Because it's one of the genres in the world that people spend the least money on. You know what I mean? Companies don't spend money on reggae music. You know what I mean? However, if you bring certain reggae artists to most places in the world, it's a big draw and a big puller. And I think, again, it goes back down to feeling and authenticity. You know what I mean? I think that there's a lot, what that shows you is that there's a lot more like-minded people of consciousness in the world than we think. You know what I mean? I think that's what that shows you. I think that there's a need for it and there's a wanting for it, because if this music is doing so well without any money or without it going through this big engine that they have for pop music, and it's still standing toe to toe, you know, there's a big argument between who is bigger, Michael Jackson or Bob Marley. But I feel like when somebody travels outside of the U.S., I think and look at the entire world and who travels a lot, I think they'll see why people would go more for Bob Marley. Yes, Michael Jackson has more hits and number one, you know what I mean? But again, you know, the feeling, bro, you can't go around that. That frequency is a frequency that people are needing right now, especially now. So I think that there will always be a space for it and a place for it in people's lives. And as I said earlier, that like-minded people want to hear conscious music.
Yeah, that's a great phrase. And Kes is right. Reggae is a frequency. That's a great way to put it. It's a frequency, or as you put it earlier, because you're talking to the soul. It is undeniable. His name is Kes Namdi. He is a reggae musical artist. As I said earlier, he had no choice but to be, or not to be, given who his parents were and are on the international reggae stage. A great deal more to unpack with him about his new project when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Hurricane Debbie is moving inland after making landfall in Florida as a Category 1 storm. Simone Biles is adding a silver medal to her collection as she wraps up her time at the Paris Olympics. The African-American gymnast finished behind Brazil's Rebecca Andrade in the women's floor exercise final Monday. Her Team USA teammate Jordan Childs earned the bronze medal. In Alabama, a family is suing the Bay Minette Police Department after a man's death. It's been a couple of years since Otis French Jr., an African-American man, died after being shot in a traffic stop. A lawsuit was filed last week that claims the officer involved was aware that French suffered from a mental illness. The Bay Minette Police Department has already cleared the officer of any wrongdoing. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man.
Simone Biles came up short in her quest for 5 gold medals in the Summer Olympics, but she leaves Paris as one of the most decorated gymnasts in the history of the sport and perhaps the greatest of all time. Simone won the silver medal in the floor exercise. She failed during her balance beam routine and did not score high enough for a silver or bronze. Simone ended up with 3 gold medals and 1 silver in Paris. She now has 11 Olympic medals in her career, 7 gold, 2 silver, and 2 bronze. She has the second highest Olympic medal count in gymnastics history. It's possible that what we saw on Monday might be the last time we'll see Simone in Olympic competition. At age 27, Simone will be 31 when the Summer Olympics comes to LA in 2028. Simone hasn't announced her intentions for 2028, but it's rare for gymnasts to compete in their 30s. If Simone's career is over, we have a lot of special memories to cherish. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like the style, though?
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text LION to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text LION to 42424. That's LION to 42424.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Cause everyone got wants and needs. In Babylon you can't find peace. Just silver and gold are they seeking. In the end it will all lose its meaning. When you hear we mention Babylon, it's not a place. It's the system that oppress you on a daily basis. It's in your mind and in those quiet spaces. The revolution is in the household with those minor choices. So before you blame those government parties, or the preachers, or those poor little artists, look within yourself and purify where your heart is. Go a river and go wash off your crosses. Protect all your thoughts, that's how they control the masses. Runga tell you up down, pass it. We come for nice up the area, tell the New York pass it. And if I choose sunrise, we are gonna rise and bust it. We come for nice up the area. We ball out, whoa. And the skyline pass it. We come for spread righteousness round the world now. You see, we come for unite.
This track is called Never Enough. It's Rhapsody featuring our guest in this hour, Kez Namdi. Again, called Never Enough. Rhapsody featuring Kez Namdi. We're pleased to have Kez as our guest in this hour. Kez, let me ask you this right quick before I move forward. When it comes to collaborations, what's your test? What's your process for deciding when you think a collaboration is worthwhile for you?
Well, the sound. It starts at the sound.
Right.
I mean, I don't care really, who you are. Really, it starts at. Does it inspire me? You know? So that's where it starts for me. Once I hear something, and I'll know right away within that first 2 seconds if it grabs me.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You said,
but I can't force it. That's just be natural.
Yeah. To your point of it grabbing you, I read a quote preparing for our conversation where you were very clear about the fact that music chose you. You said it's not a choice, not a hobby, but that music chose you. I joked earlier that given who your parents are, you didn't have much choice. Eventually, it was going to grab you. But tell me about that moment, having grown up in this household, where you realized that music was calling you as well.
Well, naturally, I never even imagined myself to become an artist. I from a young age, I fell in love with football, soccer. You know what I mean? So that was what I was spending most of my days and times doing. I was outside, and at that time, I didn't really know my voice. I didn't know that I could sing. I didn't know how to sing or none of those things. Like my sisters in the household, they're the ones that actually could sing, and like they had like real raw talent, as you could see. I just never dived into it. But again, because I was in that household, I would wake up to, my mother practicing harmonies on the guitar with my father. Up to this day, they're doing that every single day. You know what I mean? And playing drumming and going to rehearsals with them and going on shows with them. And I remember just growing up being in the studio for like hours and hours with them. And like, again, I was never thinking about being a musician, but now looking back at it now, I'm like, oh, like that make a lot of sense. So, and then when I reached about 12, 13 years old, and I started to understand what reggae music what is and what the space that it holds in people's hearts, and like how much this music is a powerful thing, that's when now I chose it back.
Yeah.
So I choose me in other way there, because me, somebody, I'm crazy, and I believe that we choose our parents. You know what I mean? So you can manifest what you need to manifest in this world that we live in and exist in today, So the music chose me in the environment that I was in, right? But then I chose it back, because then it took a lot of work to get to this place where I'm at musically now. A lot of sleepless nights of like literally practicing my scales, like going through errors of just practicing my guitar and non-stop recording, like always recording from a very tender age.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
when you were a kid, I'll tell you why I'm asking in a second. When you were a kid, did you spend time on the road touring with your parents?
Not when they left Jamaica.
Okay.
So when they would like go on Europe tours and stuff, we would stay home with family. But when I was at home in Jamaica, my father always believed that a child should never hold back your passion in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or your journey in life. What you need to do is just bring them with you. You know what I mean? Whatever it is you're doing, bring them. Make them a part of the journey. So that was one thing my parents did, was wherever we went, whichever part on the island there was a big reggae show going, he's packing up that car with instruments and equipment and 5 kids in the car, packed up, 5 little Rasta children rolling around Kingston town.
And what did that kind of exposure That welcome embrace of your father. That's what I'm getting to. That you have this welcome embrace of your father, who's exposing you to everything he's saying. What did that do for you in your development?
Well, it exposed me to life, you know what I mean? Where it's like not a sheltered life. Like my father would always take me all around in the ghetto, all around to any football field, anywhere. And just what it really exposed me to is the connection of people. You know what I mean? And how powerful that is, you know, and growing up and seeing the wider community of that conscious, like-minded people. Because now when my father would bring us, there's also another Rasta man that's coming with his kids. And we're playing with their children, and it's a community. So I think that openness of bringing us around to all of these events and places showed me that there's a community here without even knowing, and of like-minded people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, when you're exposed to what they force upon you, it makes you feel like you're the only one. It makes you feel like you're the only family functioning like this. You know, you're the, you know, or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We played some Kez music already. I want to play a new track. He's got some new music coming that I get a chance to share with you. Yeah. We played Identity Crisis. We played Skyline. We played, of course, a track from Rhapsody featuring Kez Nani. But this is new music of his. It's not even out yet, but you get a chance to hear it here first. It's called Pressure from Kez.
Pressure, we under pressure. The youth got no options, and we need some action. Hey, everything get higher. Yeah, we down to the wire. Youth that turn to the crime, and you don't care about the time. The economy of pressure, we don't got no choice. Out the road, dog, hungry if you take your 3 points. Hey, Father, watch over we. Hey, the rich and live large and the poor man down, and desperation crawling around. Everything gets so ration. Out the road, take precaution. Hey, on the bank them fall down, system a crash. Place in a thermal, a burn out to watch.
This is one of the forthcoming tracks from Kez Namdi. It's called Pressure. And here he goes again with those lyrics, making me think. That's what I was saying earlier. He brings the lyrical content along with his musical genius, his playing and his singing, but the lyrics are speaking to me. We'll let him talk about Pressure when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Lamert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Tavis is like George and Wheezy. He's moving on up. Last year, Tavis was number 45 on the Talkers magazine list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. Wait for it. Wait for it. The 2024 list was recently released, and Tavis has jumped to number 33 on the list of the nation's most important talkers, making him the highest-ranked African-American on the coveted roster. Congratulations to Tavis Smiley from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580. We've got you black.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Ooh, I'm so ready for this weekend away with my girls.
Hey, hit the road? How about some free gas?
Free gas? How?
Try new Febreze coffee. Gas for a full year. Visit Febreze.com to learn more.
Say less.
You may not win, but you're gonna have a fresh smelling whip.
Thanks, DJ Fresh. Now how about some music?
Hey, yo, this next one goes out to new Febreze coffee, giving you a chance to win free gas.
No purchase necessary. Must be 18 to enter in 73124 for rules and how to enter. Visit Febreze.com.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
So, Kaz, let's talk about some of your new music. This track, as I mentioned, is called Pressure. Tell me about this and the music that is to come, sir.
Well, people suffering, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people suffering on a mass level, you know, and I don't know how to say it without saying it like that. You know what I mean? Like the system is failing us, bro. And you know, in one of the lines that I said the youth got no options, and what that line is really stemming from is just like talking about the education system needs some kind of reform, because kids are going to school and getting scammed because they're getting taught that they're going to learn this and learn that. And when they graduate from college, they're going to be in a situation where they have a job, you know, and they get paid. That used to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
But now, in this world, what we live in now, the education system that we have is not preparing the youths for the world that exists today. It's preparing for a world that used to exist. You know what I mean? So, and America does a very good job at covering up certain things. But when you go in the third world countries and you're seeing the sufferation and the economic stress that people under, it's a serious thing. You know, and where some people say we're in a recession right now. Some are even saying that we're in a Great Depression right now, and it's a scary place, because you know, all these isms and schisms like capitalism and communism and all these isms, none of it is working. You know what I mean? Really. I don't know what the solution is, but whatever it is, bro, we're seeing sufferation at a very high level right now. And obviously with sufferation breeds crime. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's a whole chain reaction, you know?
No. When I heard that track, Pressure, I thought about my friend who may be listening right now. I have a friend who's fond of saying, he's a psychologist, and he's fond of saying, Tavis, too much pressure will make anybody's pipes burst.
Yeah, man.
Too much pressure will make anybody's pipes burst. That's his line. Yeah, he reminds me of that all the time, just to navigate as best I can the pressure that I'm under doing what I do every day. He wants me just to be mindful that too much pressure make anybody's pipes burst. You got to handle that pressure as best you can and make sure you relieve it as often as you can. But I resonate with the lyrics in the song, and thought about my friend when I heard it. So tell me about the forthcoming music. How you're releasing music these days. My sense is that you're dropping some singles here or there, but is there a full album forthcoming? What are you working on? I'm just trying to get inside your studio, man.
Yes, a year and a half. I haven't toured any music for a year and a half.
Right.
Or released any music for a year and a half. I've just kind of been in the studio, locked in.
Right.
Kind of getting my infrastructure together, getting all my ducks in a row while recording and finishing my album.
Right.
I'm at a place now where I'm probably like 98, 99.9. It's basically done. It's done. I would say it's done, you know, so I'm in a place now where I'm very excited to share the work that I've been working on, you know, and Yeah, as I said, the intro was Identity Crisis, but our first real official single is Pressure, which is coming out this month, which you got a nice exclusive play. This was the first premiere of Pressure. So that's a big move right there,
No, we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Man.
Yeah. No, it's always nice when people come on your program. I've been blessed to be in this situation any number of times in my career. People come on and choose to play their stuff first or share it first with our audience, and for that I am grateful. Our remaining moments with Kes Namdi when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Kes Namdi. So Kes, I got just a few minutes left here. When you were talking about, I asked about the new project. You're like, well, it's 98% done. It's 99% done. You said, well, I'd say it's done. I'd say it's done. You inched your way. You inched your way up to that. It made me think of my friend Stevie Wonder. We mentioned Stevie earlier in today's program. Stevie is famous for having a hard time letting the project go. Never mind his brilliance, he has a hard time just letting it go. Stevie, the record label Motown will call and say, Stevie, come on, man, just turn the album in. Are you one of those persons that can't let it go? They can't let it go?
It's my babies, man. It's my babies, man. Once my babies get out there in the world, like, it's not mine anymore. The people own it, not me. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro, I just want to make sure that the music is presented at the highest level possible. You know what I mean? I make sure that everything is right. We're talking about people. This could be the soundtrack for somebody's life. So it's you have to take it serious. So. But I can definitely say I'm one of those people that try to be a imperfect perfectionist. You know what I mean? Because the imperfection of music is beautiful, but the sound and making sure it's coming together right has to be perfect. You know.
Yep. And after a year and a half of being in the studio and not touring, are you anxious to get back out again?
Definitely, I feel like it's the right time.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, I did the right thing, and you know, a lot of people questioned my decisions at the time, but I think now that with everything done and the album in the can and all the videos and all the stuff that we have around it and the causes and the action that we're trying to do, I feel like they respected that decision and understand it, and I'm very excited to share it, man. I have a powerful body of work right now that I think the world needs to hear, you know?
Yep. Well, we look forward to it. All of your fans look forward to it. Let me close with this. I want to bring this conversation full circle, as it were. I never know where these conversations are going to go. I'm just following the guests. But here's where we end, which, again, is kind of interesting given where we began. We started out talking about your parents and the fact that you really had no choice, that music chose you, that your parents exposed you. You were in this house with music all the time, and eventually you came to terms with the fact that you had to respond back to the call that music had given to you. So I am curious, after all this time now of you doing what you do and becoming an artist in your own right, how does it feel for your parents to listen to your stuff? You grew up listening to their stuff. Now your parents are listening to to your stuff, and that feels like what?
It feels amazing. I feel like, you know, growing up, you know, I was just doing raps and funny raps growing up because, you know, I never really have the wisdom. And my parents never really, you know, they would never really even like force it upon me or say, yo, you have to be a musician. They just saw me having fun with it, and that was it.
Right.
But I think since I played my album for my father the other day, and I think that I could safely say, you know, because my father is a very like rootical man, you know what I mean? Him and my mom, very rootical people. So they're not trying to hear none of that dancehall thing or not. They want to hear what is the message.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think that I really achieved that with this album where my father, you know, definitely you could tell that he's proud of me and proud of the sounds and how we represent the family on the world stage, you know.
Yeah, well, that's half the battle. If your mom and daddy like your stuff, you won. You won already. If your parents, given their iconic stature on the international reggae stage, if they like it, then you ain't done bad. Kesnamdi, good to have you on this program. Look forward to the album dropping and having you back on this program somewhere way down the road. But enjoy the tour for the new project, and thank you, sir, for your time. I appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you for taking the time as well, and we're definitely going to be doing something special in LA, so we'll definitely invite you and let you come out and experience the show.
You let us know. You let us know. Your fans in LA and all across the country, for that matter, will be excited to see you back on tour. We thank Cash for that conversation. And just like that, 3 hours gone, back here tomorrow, Lord willing, to do it all over again. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore here.